All right, welcome back to it's round two, right? I've already lost track.
Yeah, I think this is the end of round two.
Okay, good. So welcome back to another round two game of GP Ottawa. We have Epid versus gender terrorist. Are we calling it? Are we calling them that,
Uh,
or are you just calling them a lot less troll?
Agenda, I think the deck list is on agenda.
Okay, sure. So we have Epid on mono black midrange, which I'm pretty sure you've got, or we've already recorded this deck before multiple times in this GP. Somehow this deck keeps getting on camera. I don't know why. Maybe the players who play this deck just happen to be on during the same time that we're active.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fair amount of this deck, this GP. I can check real quick.
Yeah.
I guess there's only 3 copies, but the copies are
Meanwhile,
still.
Lost or Jenner is on red green tokens with some very spicy cards.
Yeah, so definitely a bit cleaned up from when they played it last GP. A couple more lands, couple 1-drops. Interestingly included Diva Bonded Souls, which seems a bit risky with the mana base, but
Hey, no risk, no reward, right?
I suppose they did add in 2 grade as well, which makes it a bit easier. Looking at the actual game, Gender has very good hand. It's potentially able to be picked apart by discard. So if there's Valdez named low, it's gonna take this pronounce and gonna be pretty nasty. But if this pronounce does resolve, then Spirit of the Autumn will come down, and then Reunite with Nature will come down, and that's probably lights out.
Really? Like, how much damage is that if that happens?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, pronounces 2 creatures, Spirit of Autumn's 3, or what, 4 on top of that, so you have 6. You have Spirit, and then the Nourish 3, that's 6, and then Reunite with Nature's turns us all into 3 ones with Trample and gives you additional 1. That's 21.
Yeah. Anyways, Valdez name's low, so yeah, that play's not gonna happen.
Yeah, nice call from Epid.
Well, I mean, you always name low with Valdez, right? Against aggro decks, because you get to throw them off curve.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you could. It worked out here, but if you think your opponent's on like Solar Flares and all these invocations and only has 1 payoff, then you could potentially try and snipe like Spirit Autumn or
oh dear.
Reunite with
Do we have to call a judge? Hopefully the players catch that.
I don't know what players are holding.
If it's asking if Gender is casting it, we'll give them 1 turn, right? That's usually.
Well, I mean, stop. Yeah, okay.
They're asking how. Good.
Catches it.
Yeah. So Gender just lost or just missed their 2-drop.
Yeah, bit of a playing the forest there of the mountain, but
I guess they were still on the pronouncer plan and didn't realize that. So they just naturally played out the forest and then didn't realize that kit was double red.
Yeah. So Epid has a bit of an awkward mana situation as well. This Idravia not tapping for black is pretty awkward.
Yeah, and Epid is going to not play Mistress. They're going to play out Mistress on 2, right? I mean, that curves out. Nope, they're going for the...
Mistress doesn't do anything here, right? They do decide to take Advocate.
I mean, that's fine. You get to take their most scary card, right?
Well, I mean, is it scary here? Their opponent's on 3 basics and no way to trigger it.
It could be scary. Like, the opponent could top deck something that triggers it, and then suddenly you're facing down a really scary board.
Yeah, I don't know if Gender's deck actually has that many things to trigger it when they have 3 basics in play.
Well, there's one thing that triggers it, and if...
Yeah, fair enough.
If Epid actually curved out properly, like playing out their Advocate with the right mana, they could have had Banish Companion attacking that turn. Or actually, no, they could have just... Actually, would it have made any difference? Wait, what? You're not playing a 3-drop?
I mean, Spirit Island does scale with creatures in play.
All right, you can't play your div on 3 because you don't have the right mana colors.
Yeah, definitely not loving this mana base from Gender. Swamp is an excellent draw.
Yeah.
Epid.
So you play Profane Emissary plus the Mind Falters, I think.
No.
What?
Idravia is putting a...
Oh, right. Profane Emissary is double black.
Yeah.
So you play the Mind Falters plus Mistress.
Yeah, pretty natural line there.
The Mind Falters gives opponent a poison counter, which will allow Mistress to start drawing cards.
It will need something on the draw step to deal with this, because Mind Falters presumably hits Div with Bonded Souls here, because it's not castable. Then presumably Gendigo Spirit of Autumn, that makes that gives them 4 things, and then Epid will need to find a way to deal with this reunite with nature. They will have 2 draws to do that with the Mistress trigger as well as the normal draw step. If they do manage to deal with that, I think they're kind of in the home stretch. Orc, Soul Weaver, and Profane they both clean up the game pretty darn well.
Yeah, and there goes the Div of Bonded Souls, as we expect. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Usually we mark poison by using the storm counter, because most decks in this format don't count storm. I don't know what to do if the deck you're playing also counts storm and also uses all 5 colors of mana.
All 6 colors of mana? I mean, there's colorless too.
Right. Colorless, but so colorless isn't a color, so...
So Soulflare is a draw. I don't think it's a particularly good one, but does do something.
There's Spirit Bottom.
It does kill the Soul Weaver, potentially.
And there's creatures. If you're Epid, do you trade here?
Absolutely not, You know this reunite with nature's in your opponent's hand. You need to find an answer to it.
But like trading also reduces the impact of reunite with nature, right?
Kind of. I mean, I guess it does.
Like, you're not really at danger of dying to that thing, right? I mean, it's only making 3 guys.
After trading, it's making 4.
Oh, right, it's +1. Okay. I mean, Auric Soul Weaver does clean them up pretty nicely.
That is true, but you both can't cast Soul Weaver and Soul Weaver. I mean, we have the knowledge of the Soul Flare in Jinda's hand, but Epid does know that
Epid trades.
Is on 4 Soul Flare, 2 Scorch.
So turns out Epid did not agree with the better line that you said, or the absolutely not trading line.
I mean, I feel like you just need both another swamp and a discard spell, or preferably both. And that's not an unreasonable thing to be looking for. I mean, I guess Profane MSA kind of cleans things up okay.
It's not active yet.
Yeah, but like it does do stuff.
It's a 2/2 for 2.
Well, I mean, yeah, but presumably fetching Pulp next turn if it survives. Roggers might make that more difficult.
So do you just reunite with nature now and cash in all your tokens, or do you play Rogar first? I guess you play Rogar first. Doesn't that increase the amount of time for an opponent to find an answer to your board? Well, shouldn't you just cash in your guys now and try to swing for as much damage as possible?
Well, you're swinging for 12, but then Profane MSA is a 4/4 lifelink, and that will make it very difficult to actually kill your opponent. Because next turn you'll swing for 9, or swing for 12 again, but then Profane MSA will put them back up to 10, and then they'll only take 9. That's if they don't do anything, which is unlikely. Hell, even Idrovia would give some amount of safety there. In kind of basic sense. I mean, the Soul Flare complicates a bit, but okay. I feel like I like this line.
Gender swings in with their 1/1s.
But I think really Epid's just, I mean, not to harp too much on that Mistress trade line, but I think they're just kind of 1 card short.
Well, 2 pay-ups
makes them be in a much better spot, though.
So first pay-up, you're going to name Reunite with Nature and make a treasure, because no way Gender is going to discard that thing for free.
Yeah, that is a good point. That will let them cast Soul the next turn, regardless of their draw, which is nice.
But the problem is that you don't have a follow-up for the Soul Weaver.
I mean, you have Valdez. You don't have immediate follow-up.
Assuming you draw a land, because you have to spend a treasure to cast the Soul Weaver.
Soul Flare.
Oh. Well, okay. Gender is checking the deck. What do you think they might be looking for?
I mean, I feel like Reunite with Nature's lethal here, right? Like, it's just straight up 15.
Maybe Epid's trying to be 9,000 IQ.
Like, yeah, I'm definitely not following. Because if they don't wheel the treasure here, then they need to draw Swamp for Soul Weaver. Which I mean, I guess is doable. That is a fair amount of the deck. A third of the deck, maybe more at this point.
So
they can't really just sit around, because I mean, Rogar does have the Rogar's Frenzy ability.
Okay, so, wait, right. Rogar actually has activated abilities. When's the last time you've seen someone activate Rogar's abilities? Like for actual mana, or by actually paying the cost?
Well, normally people just don't play Rogar.
What? Rogar saw some play, right? Like, it's not that unusual.
It's pretty unusual. Like Rattler does really take Rogar's job a lot of time. Oh, well then, that's GG.
Is that
yeah?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess Epid's play didn't matter, because Gender top deck the exact card they need, anyways.
Yeah, you get kind of reverse punished, I guess. Like, you don't get punished for You don't get punished for your misplay, but you just like lose anyways.
Well, you got punished for your misplay way back when you traded your mistress with the creature, right?
Yeah, I mean it is only one card, admittedly.
Is it only one card? Has it only been one turn?
Oh, I guess maybe it is more than one card. I mean, I think there's a lot more to trading with mistress on the second go round companion. I guess it is 2 turns.
I mean, you have Auric Soul Weaver, so like you kind of just want to draw as much cards as possible so you can clean up the board with Auric instead of having to trade your draw engine for it, right?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that this, like, you'll take one from mistress, and then the banished companion would have had to hit you twice for you to still have it in play.
I mean, that's fine, right? The only thing that matters is that you stop your opponent from doing this thing.
Well, yeah, but this is a top deck, so like if Epid took an additional 6, like let's say that Jen didn't draw the second reunite. I mean, if they take an additional 6 at 9, I think they'd still be playing the Soul Wheel now.
Epid realizing that they should have named reunite with the first pay up, although it wouldn't have made any difference.
Okay, they didn't realize it. It had haste, which is, I suppose, fair.
That's a very different card if it didn't have haste. But anyways.
So moving on to sideboarding.
Yep.
Epid probably has a fair amount of cards to bring in here, if I'm remembering the sideboard correctly.
Strike from the Shadows, a Hungering Cult. Is this a Hungering Cult matchup?
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely a Violent Class matchup.
Yeah.
Hungering Cults, I could buy it.
Is this a No More One matchup?
Probably not.
Right.
The thing about Mono Black is that you don't actually have that many things to sack to No More One. So you really need to be wanting every single part of the card to bring it in, I think. Okay. And I don't think the card mode is going to be too relevant here.
Well, going on to the other side, I still don't know what this sideboard's about.
I imagine nothing's being brought in here.
Earthfeeder Worm? Is that
no.
Cower's Tithe? Wait, why's that card in the deck?
I mean, Call's Tithe is like a pretty darn good card if you're against like mono spells. But
like an aggro?
I mean, you do have a fair amount of mana sinks. I mean, you have Grade, you have the one Raga, you have Here with you. I mean, Men in Reclamation.
Sure, I guess. So just don't bring anything, right?
Drop it. I don't think so. But yeah, if you just drop Cause Tithe, turn 2 on the play, then it doesn't really matter if you aggro. You just like the curve in this deck is high enough that I think you're just happy getting the extra 4 or 5 mana it generates pretty quickly.
Anyways, the game has started, and Epid seems to have a pretty good hand. Wait, never mind. This is not a good hand. You have to log in that. You only have one land.
I mean, this is like really close. Like, I think this is like a snap keep on drop. You have double Valdez, Mind Falters, Soulbreaker. You have Profane Emissary to find your third land. You have Soul Weaver. Like, this is a pretty nuts hand if you do hit your second land. Like, I think you just almost win the spot if you hit it.
Meanwhile, Gender has the lands that they need, but their mana is really awkward.
Yeah, it should be alright with the Pronouncer to get mana for the div. But yeah, Plains with Mana Reclamation and Soul is pretty awkward.
Oof, Epid has to mulligan again.
Yeah, Zealand is not so hot.
And this is not a great hand, but you have to keep here because you don't want to go down to 4.
Interesting that Kaija was kept in.
Didn't it get brought? Wait, it started in the deck?
Yeah, it's the Profane Emissary target.
Right.
In the main deck. I don't think there's any major legendaries in Gender's deck. I guess Grade. Yeah.
Grade feels like one of the weaker cards in the deck.
Yeah, but you still phase it out. Because it's a land, right?
I guess.
Do you ever go crazy and go to 4 here?
No. Well, Epid says no. Wait, you're buying one of the Soul Breakers.
I think it's fine. I mean, I think you do. Soulbreaker is pretty meh in this matchup. You also don't have...
But you kind of need creatures to block.
Well, you don't... Like, your 2-drop for a 1/1 is not a great trade. I mean, just looking at what's going to happen in this game, the Pronounce is going to be played turn 2, and Soulbreaker is going to look pretty silly.
More lands off the top. Idravir. Is that...
Like, I think... I mean, depends on how Epid sideboard, I guess, but I can't imagine you're signing up Soul Weaver here.
Yeah. I also disagree with playing Idravir.
Maybe it's not crazy to keep Soulbreaker in hand, but it does kind of feel like you're never really going to be activating Idravir next turn.
So here you always play Pronouncer, right? You're not going to keep up here with you.
Probably. I think maybe a different matchup you could consider keeping up here with you, but yeah, your opponent's not on counterspell or anything, so here with you also like gives Epid 2 cards, which is unmulligans them kind of. Since I think against this deck you basically never give them the tokens on UN step because tokens are very scary.
Well, if Epid ever survives and Ego can't start grinding.
Yeah, I mean, gender doesn't. Well, let me actually read Divid Bonded Souls.
So when it enters, you make something that's every creature type, and whenever a creature you control attacks, it's coat of armed, but only 4 power.
Very good with Hero Theo. But it seems just like a +1/+0 anthem on a well-satted creature.
Well satted? I mean, it's only a 3/1.
Yeah, but it comes with a 1/1.
Right, so it's a 4/2 worth of stats. I guess if you attack with these guys, it's like...
Like a 6/2. Well, I guess more, right? Because the token's pretty big.
Wait, you're not playing Divid Bonded Souls.
I think the plan is Solar Flare.
I think Epid's actually pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I'd be at static blocking the pronouncer here.
Wait, what? Excuse me? I guess you don't want to trade your 3-drop for half a 2-drop, but like you want to get tokens off the board.
But you're not trading for half a 2-drop, you're trading for pronouncer plus Solar Flare.
Right, so it's like half a 2-drop plus another half, plus another 2 mana card. Oh.
Yeah, you're trading out. Maybe they just misunderstood what was being represented.
Alright, that makes more sense.
But yeah, I don't think you can really be punished for this. I mean, you're playing against a pretty aggressive deck, and the opportunity to not let them play a 3-drop is really important. Keeping the board small is pretty important. I mean, being able to slam Ego next turn. I mean, Ego likes a smaller board too.
Yeah, Ego wants small games.
Yeah, Epid is also rewarded for holding the Soulbreaker with this Infectious Ego draw.
Isn't Soulbreaker just going to kill a token?
I mean, yeah, but that's still something that can't be sacked to the Ego.
Is Mana Reclamation ever going to steal an Ego?
I mean, what, 4 mana at the moment if they keep the land or 2 more cards in hand? I mean, it's not unreasonable.
Because I feel like that's a giant blowout.
A little bit, but at the same time, it's not like, I feel like almost the tokens is more of a blowout. I feel like if you play an Ego, you're always attacking with it, so losing a blocker isn't that big of a deal.
Well, it's more like you have to sack one of your own things, and you don't actually have that many things to sack.
I mean, at this point, you can probably just sack lands, right?
Then you have to go down on mana. Or I guess you have enough lands now.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's Ego.
But then again, Ego does make it pretty hard to get up to 6 mana for Reclamation.
You can just keep sacking tokens to it.
Well, but then you don't have tokens in play. You have Bonded Souls and whatnot.
Right. Well,
and it's going to be especially hard with this Soulbreaker coming down next turn too.
So now General needs to think about what to sack. Do they sack a creature or a land? Creature or a land? Or I guess enchantment too, if you really want to go for that.
Yeah, I think the enchantment's a sack, right? I mean, it seems much lower value than the land.
Yeah, but now it puts you off here with you, and step here with you.
I guess that's true,
but puts you further off from Mana Reclamation for X = 4.
I guess I feel like that's just such a outside thing that doesn't even necessarily win you the game.
But yeah, so now what do you do as gender? Because you got an Infection Ego that you can't attack past, and sure, you can keep sacking tokens to it, but still.
I mean, here you just play Div, right?
Nope, you're gonna hold up end of turn here with you.
I'm not so sure I'm sold on that.
It makes tokens to sack to Ego, right? And if they, I guess the jig is up.
Yeah, the thing is that I don't think you're getting the 4 tokens here.
Then you get to draw 4 cards. I mean, that's still all right.
Yeah, but like Epid's on Morgan to 5. I mean, they have 5 lands in play, and there's a lot of pretty spooky cards in Epid's deck. I mean, you don't exactly want to see a second Infectious Ego, like a Violent Collapse. I mean, giving your opponent more draws towards Violent Collapse seems like not the best idea.
They're gonna name here with you.
I guess you always give them the chance, but Epid seems like they'd want more draws towards the Violent Collapse.
So now, Gender's not going to discard here with you, right? Like at this point, treasures don't matter. Yeah, they discard the land.
Yeah, and that treasure is another thing that's gonna invite Epid to draw 2 here with you.
So do you drop Soulbreaker before combat so that Ego eats up a land?
I think so. I think that makes sense. I think keeping your opponent off of lands when you know they're going to be playing end of turn here with you is a good idea. You know, this Men in Reclamation is also potentially a threat.
Yeah, you don't want to get your Eagle Men in Reclamation for X=4.
Yeah, but maybe more importantly, you don't want your opponent to make a bunch of goblins.
Okay, Epid is going to drop Spellbreaker.
Yeah. And actually, going back to last turn when Epid's when trying to sack the Landor, they could have actually given control of it to Epid.
Wait,
because it's not actually a useful permanent for Epid, which would prevent this situation. It's a pretty minor thing, but
I should remember that when playing against Ego as a ramp deck, that I can give away my useless auras. Anyways, now, Ego swings in.
Yeah, and now with both the tag triggers ticking and the lifelinker ticking, Gender is definitely on a bit of a clock and will need pretty good draws of this here with you.
Gender forgot that Ego did it on attack.
Yeah, Ego is a pretty good card.
But they're not going to hear with you in response. Try to...
Do they have any instance? All the instances are 2 mana, so...
Well, I mean, like...
Doesn't really matter when they do it.
Maybe Epid misplays and makes the tokens so that you can sack tokens to Ego instead of your lands.
I suppose that's a fair point. I suppose Epid did see Gender's hand, so they do know... Actually, no, they know that it's not safe to give tokens because the tokens are going to get what, +4/+0 from the Div Bonded Souls?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this deck is really good at forcing Here With You to be the draw mode.
Not sure how good or how much advantage it takes from drawing a bunch of cards, though, because a lot of its cards are kind of expensive for an aggro deck. Like, they're all kind of finishers.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, why does Here With You make your opponent draw 2 cards? It should only make your opponent draw 1 card. That feels like the right power level.
Not sure if I agree.
Well, like, make your opponent draw 2 cards. That's so many cards.
Yeah, but you draw 4.
4 cards is not. That's not. That still only gives you like what, +1 in card advantage, right? Because you also have to spend a card to draw with Here With You, and you give your opponent 2
cards. So goes with draw, but thinks it might be wrong, which is, I mean, I think we're inclined to agree that draw is the choice. I've been draw some pretty good cards,
but no cheap cards. I mean, Gender doesn't draw any cheap cards. Actually, yeah, this is a horrible draw for Gender. A pretty good draw for Epid. So Epid's bad feeling is completely misplaced. Oh, there's Arties.
Unfortunately, the mana doesn't line up super well for Arties. I think this Ego is just going to continue tearing Gender apart.
Yeah.
There's not many ways for... I mean, I guess you can Men Reclamation for... No, I guess you can't because the mana doesn't work out. There's just not really any easy ways for Gender to develop onto this board. And especially with Epid's draws of 2 removal spells, it's pretty brutal.
They kind of needed to top deck Pronouncer and Seed Call if they wanted to come back into the game.
Yeah, but even then, yeah, you need probably both of them, or at least bodies in one of them, or at least some amount of 1-drops or something, so you can actually start taking up to this reunite with nature being threatening. But as is, seems difficult for this reunite to get much going.
I mean, like, if you got Seed Call, I guess you could like do something like play Seed Call, orchestrate Artie's Invocation, and then next turn drop Div Bonded Souls, get Artie's Invocation to give your Seed Calls, or give Bonded... Wait, you don't actually need to do it in that order.
Yeah, the thing is that you are still sacking stuff to Ego. I mean...
Just sack your lands, you don't actually need that much mana.
It's a lot. Well, you say that, but we're complaining about how Gender can't commit to this board.
If they drew Seed Call, and then they could have like played Seed Call and Artie's, right? And the next turn you sack a land, you play Div, you get your things haste.
Yeah, but I don't even think that's like lethal.
It doesn't have to be lethal. You just have to swing for a bunch.
I suppose then like Reunite gets stuff done, but then it's like, okay, well, the cards drawn needed to be Reunite, Artie's, Seed Call, which is getting a bit picky.
Wait, what?
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, does do stuff.
Are you gonna follow this up with Artie's?
This is like kind of cool because you can actually just sack the treasure to the Ego, which is funny.
It's until end of turn, right? So you can't do that.
Right. Sorry.
Can you try to target perm? Wait, this thing can steal lands.
Yep.
Wait, you can like just play this for 0 and steal a land.
Yeah, X = 0. This is one of the cards that's like, if you're making a potential crystal conjuration, stack your opponent's land sack, stolen cash. There's a one of the cards that shows up there in that conversation occasionally.
All right, we're gonna see. So we're gonna see gendered top deck seed call, and then they're gonna play seed call, div of bonded souls, and swing for a bunch.
Seed call. That's the problem.
What?
I just know we talk about seed call a lot, but they don't have it in hand.
They can always top deck it. It's like 1 in what? How much? What's the chances of top decking it right now? There's 2 copies in the deck.
About 1 in 20.
Wait, how do you know?
So, well, they have 43 cards in deck. 2 copies in deck.
Wait, where did our invocation go? Wait, they're gonna
just in XL.
They're not gonna like do the orchestrate. They're not gonna like make an orchestrate marker token.
Ooh, second infectious ego.
Oh,
do you play the second ego?
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
I guess it is better than playing Soulbreaker.
It links your opponent back to Stone Age.
I was saying that maybe Soulbreaker keep up Strike with Shadows, but yeah, ego's probably better.
One has to go down to 2 lands, or I guess no creatures and 3 lands.
Yep. Ego really keeping the silliness of Jenda's deck in check. And well, like Body's Invocation, Div of Bonded Souls, that kind of stuff is a lot of damage. Ego does gain a lot of life.
Yeah, why does Ego have lifelink on top of everything it already does? Oh, huh.
So that way it's good against aggro decks.
Isn't it good against aggro decks already just by like forcing this many sacks?
Nah. Ego is definitely occasionally a pretty sad card. So Epid decides to go for Soulbreaker, which
guarantees a land sack.
Yeah, so does the other ego. This is also like 6 poison, and then the ego from hand is 7, and I mean,
wait, are we gonna see a poison kill?
A poison win, potentially, yeah. And you also have, I think this is gonna be a poison kill because you have the strike from shadows too.
They can poison kill up this GP.
Like, to avoid it, Gender would need to start giving away permanents to these egos.
I think Gender would rather concede before giving away permanents to these egos.
So it draws Oddie's Invocation, which makes sequencing a bit awkward. Because it is a sorcery. Yeah, you only get. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because you can just play the second noise afterwards. But I guess you don't have enough mana, huh?
Yeah, you only have 3 mana.
But I think one of the things you can do with Orchestrate is you can resolve something, and then the Orchestrate triggers, and then you can respond with Seed Call, right?
Oh yeah, you can totally do that.
It's an instant, which is kind of cool.
Also, for those of you watching, since you haven't seen the card yet, Seed Call is an instant for 1 and a green that makes 3/0/1 plant tokens, or plant creature tokens. So the answer to Gender's question about which triggered ability triggers first, you get to choose. You get to choose how to stack them because they trigger at the same time.
Yeah, very relevant for old Oddie's Invocations in 8 sack.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what old Oddie's Invocation does,
it freak out some things.
No, right, old Oddie's Invocation, not old Oddie's Invocation.
Oh yeah, so this is Oddie's Invocation after the Orchestrate change, but before the Oddie's Invocation probably worked.
Yeah.
But yep, you can definitely stack it like that. And this is definitely a powerful interaction, but not going to be able to get through 27 life. Also not going to be able to get through a strike from shadows.
Also not going to be able to get through a Soulbreaker. Wait, if Epid blocks with Soulbreaker, we're not going to get a poison kill. Come on, Epid, don't block with Soulbreaker. We want the poison kill.
Yeah, it'd be very sad if we didn't get a poison kill here.
Yeah, second poison kill of the GP. Come on, give it to us.
So really, Gender can definitely just prevent that because you can just like not attack.
But then what's the point of like setting all this up just to not attack?
I mean, it's not like they have a choice of not playing Oddie's Invocation. They have to do something.
They also have the choice of not playing Div of Blinded Souls by orchestrating Oddie's Invocation.
I guess, but they're just dead. It decides not to attack because that leaves them dead on board. It's fair.
This also leaves them dead on board. I guess not, but pretty close to dead. Just not on board.
Yeah, we'll need to both give Epid some permanence, and Idravia makes this a lethal attack damage-wise.
Come on, give us a poison kill. Oh well, does this get us any closer to the poison kill?
I believe that makes it.
No. We got to play a land. Gender.
The deciding factor.
But the poison kill. You denied us a poison kill.
Yeah, would have had to opt into it a little bit because Epid didn't have any removal. So both those tokens could have been live to block the Soulbreakers.
Oh well, maybe we get Poison Kill this game, or I guess in round 3, game 3.
Yeah, Gender will be on the play again, which is definitely an advantage.
Do they even have any 1-drops? They're good.
Well, I mean, they get their 3 drops down turn earlier.
They have 3 Banished Companions if they're only 1-drop.
But in exchange for being on the play, Epid actually gets a good draw, which is fantastic. I guess this is maybe good. Is
Gender mulligan a decent hand. Like, it had a 1-drop, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much you care about 1-drops in this deck. I mean, I didn't quite see the hand, but Banished Companion is not exactly the most exceptional card.
Fog Spewer.
You're an interesting choice to bring Fog Spewer.
What does even stop?
I mean, Violent Lapse.
Yeah, I guess that works. But like, you're not actually fast enough to take advantage of Fog Spewer, right?
You might be. Though, actually, no, I guess you're not, because you can't exactly reunite with nature if you have Fog Spewer in play, huh?
Well, you can if you go to 4 mana.
Well, actually, wait, how does it work? If you sack Fog Spewer to reunite with nature?
Wait a minute.
Do you have to pay the Fog Spewer?
Well, costs are locked in before you pay, right? So the answer is no. You have to pay the tax. Hey, Seed Call, finally. We have the Seed Call into Div of Bonded Souls curve, assuming Epid draws or Gender draws a land. That's the right color.
Red source. Yeah.
Wait, this is the instant.
Gender, yeah, I don't think Epid can punish Seed Call in any way, holding it. But I don't think this ends up mattering that much, besides Epid not having as much info. Or Epid having more info than they normally would.
Well, it makes pay up slightly better because your opponent has less choices to discard. Or does it make pay up better?
I mean, I think you just play Seed Call in response to pay up, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you're always discarding Rogar's Frenzy, right? Because if Seed Call comes down, if it's always naming Div of Bonded Souls.
Yeah, definitely seems like this pay up will come down.
Tempo Soulbreaker?
I'm not sold on Soulbreaker when you have Vine Claps in hand.
It seems like Epid is also reconsidering their decision. Yep, there's a pay up.
Presumably pay up names Div of Bonded Souls, they get the treasure, and Violent Collapse should clear up the board, and then we get a bit of a top deck war with Roger's Frenzy flashbacks versus Valdez and Soulbreaker.
Well, what's the chances that Gender gets a red source off the top?
That's a good question.
Is this an easy probability calculation, or is this going to be a slightly more difficult probability calculation?
Looks like about 1 in 3.
Right, this is only a single card. It's not like hypergeometric.
6 cards in total, 6 hands in total that don't produce red, with 21 lands, not counting Greg because it's ETP taps.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Oh, decided? Huh.
What do you mean? Oh.
Gender decided to discard Div Bonded Souls.
Well, I mean, I guess Gender looked at their chances of top decking a red source and decided to not take the chance.
Yeah.
And that actually turned out to be the correct play because they did not top deck a red source. And Fog Spirit puts Collapse back a turn, although I don't think that actually gives Gender enough time to really do much.
Yeah, it depends on how it interacts with Reunite with Nature.
It does not interact favorably because costs are locked in. Yeah, costs are locked in before you pay for the costs.
Okay, I guess that's fair enough. I know there is an order that you pay costs for.
Okay, now you discard Rogar's Frenzy, right?
Yeah. That does give poison for Soulbreaker, which is nice.
Soulbreaker is eating up a plant. Yeah, this is not a very good mana base. Or the mana base is not being very kind to Gender right now.
Yeah, definitely one of the reasons that you typically don't play 9 basics, just in general.
Wait, they're playing 9 basics?
Yep. 2 plains, 4 mountains, 3 forests.
How many fetches are they playing?
4. Or 4 plus the Wayfarer Shrines. Definitely, mana base could definitely be smoothed over a little bit, but...
Wait, and they're also playing Advocate of the Cunt, and they're not playing that many paying lands?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to say the deck is perfectly tuned, but it's definitely doing some powerful stuff. So Epid draws this Infectious Ego. Do you play Ego now or Violent Collapse? Play Ego, right?
That's a good question.
4 mana? What is it going to be? Ego or Collapse, Epid?
Yeah, I think Ego is probably correct. I mean, the plants aren't doing much, and with Fog Spirit out, Gender can't actually do much, even if they top deck a land.
Yeah, well, what if they sack the Fog Spirit to the Ego for the crazy top deck line?
That's actually no. You reunite with nature tokens just die to Ego.
Yeah.
So Ego is gonna eat their veggies. Oh. Huh. Well, what can we say? It's very unfortunate that Gender did not draw the red land that they needed.
Yeah.
Epid gets to bind collapse with Ego on board. And I mean, actually, if you bind collapse, Ego turns off, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're too concerned about that.
Yeah, you're losing out value on your Ego.
I mean, are you really losing value if you're... Alternatively, you're losing value on your bind collapse, right?
Well, Epid decides to attack with Ego first. I guess they're just going to play out their creatures.
Granted, it's always good to attack the Ego first, because collapse does shrink the Ego, so...
They're going to chomp at 20 life.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess they see the bind collapse coming, and they're going to, like, play around that by jumping.
I think this is more so that, well, you're going to have to sack to Ego next turn.
Right.
Now you don't have to, but yeah, it does give Epid a lot of leeway.
Well, I mean, if you can play anything, then you also have to sack the Ego. So, like, this play assumes that you're not top decking any lands.
Yeah, and it's definitely being punished for it because Soulbreaker's come down.
Hey, it makes Reunite cost less.
And the support banner has then come down, which also doesn't die to Violent Collapse. And yeah.
Oh, Epid won the game without even needing to use Violent Collapse. Oh, here's a mountain. Where was it all these turns ago?
So how does Gender win this game?
They don't.
Hypothetically, okay, Epid draws like 50 swamps. The entire deck is swamps.
Okay.
They forget about this Mind Falters just to make things easier. Also Valdez. But Epid has a lot of resources.
Gender just passes because they don't want to sack more stuff to Ego.
Yeah, they're unfortunately dying, yeah. Which I guess instead of sacking the anything to Ego, they're deciding to sack themselves to Ego.
Yeah. Or sack their life.
Yeah, this is a 2-turn clock, and 2-turn clocks are pretty fast.
Guess who has less than 4 permanents? Well, guess who's getting killed next turn?
Yep, Epid goes to 30 life. Pros of playing 4/4 life linkers that you gain a lot of life. Also, your opponent loses a lot of life too. That's the important part of playing 4/4 life linkers.
Okay, so I think here.
Sorry, we missed something. The line is flashing back Warrior's Frenzy. Which is probably just very easily the best line.
Right, because then you can, like, if you top deck, Valdez, right? That thing also exists. And all right, yeah, flashback Warrior's Frenzy.
And that is unfortunately not going to deal 30 damage.
You don't have to do all 30 right away. You can, like.
Well, if you're not doing 30 right away, you have to do something pretty drastic to deal with this board.
Maybe you can steal Preplemurasaki if you top deck Men and Reclamation. Advocate of the Hunt.
I mean, if you top deck Men Reclamation and a land in one draw, you'd maybe get a bit closer. Because then you have more things. But then again, Preplemurasaki won't even have lifelink.
Right, you can't. Well, okay, so you steal Infectious Ego. Just ignore how you're ever gonna get enough mana to steal it. You steal Infectious Ego, you swing. Your opponent doesn't actually have anything good to sack. They have to sack a land.
Is a land not a good thing to sack?
If you, it puts them off the Mind Falters.
That's true. The Mind Falters is a pretty scary thing because Gender is on 6 poison right now. And
wait, are we gonna get poison kill?
No, but
can we get poison? I mean, if Epid swings in with Soulbreaker, and then
presumably be blocked. So Gender swings in for 6. I believe it's 6, right?
Yeah, 6. And Epid's just gonna face tank it because they're at 30.
Oh, each other attacking creature, never mind.
Oh, so never mind. Divot Bond still kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, attack on the next turn. Wait, can't they just block with Valdez?
Well, they can't block all of them. At least 2 damage is coming through.
Okay, so 1/15 of the way there. It
prevents Epid from it gets Epid further away from Sarah Ascendant, or is that what the card's called?
Sarah Ascendant is 30, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it puts. Yep. Oh, the game's over. Never mind. I guess Epid's not gonna play Sarah Ascendant, and well, I think those were some unfortunate games for Gender.
Yeah, it did have a pretty good draw to game 1, but pretty unexciting draws game 2 and game 3. In addition to Epid getting bailed a little bit from the Melter 5 with the Ego draw in game 2, as well as Epid actually getting finally a good hand in game 3.
How's the record of Black Midrange so far in the GP?
Let me check real fast. So at the end of round 2, Epid is 2-0, which is good for them. What am I? Who else is playing it? Nyx is 1-1. Is it also on Mall Black Midrange? And then Styles is on Styles is also on 1-1, so Mall Black Midrange is 1-2 so far this GP.
That's not horrible. Maybe we can get multiples into the top 8. They just need to win the next 3 rounds. Which, speaking of, you also need to win the next 3 rounds in order to top cut.
Yeah, maybe optimistic to do so, but definitely possible. Because much like the other person with a mill condition in this GP, I did not realize that Profane MSA kind of wrecked me.
You just have to like dodge all of the Profane Emissary decks, which it's like 1/5 of the field, I think.
Actually, only 5 decks, so
that is 1/5 of the field, right?
1/6, 1/7ish. I think it's like 33, 34 players. So that's maybe a bit of a concern. And then like I also have to dodge some like other decks that I can't really interact with, like mono red, which
can't you just block them with your crabs?
Yeah, the concern is like that Oros kills me and I can't counter Oros. Minor concern. Being dead makes it difficult to mill people out. Also, Fireweaver makes it difficult to mill people out. These things combined make mill a bit difficult in this current metagame.
Well, I mean, if you lose, then at least you can commentate the top cut, assuming I also don't make it.
Yeah, potentially. But enough about other things.
Yeah.
Black Midrange looking pretty good. Green-red tokens looking a little bit scary, but a lot less scary when the opponent has an infectious ego in play. A lot of things are less scary when you have an infectious ego in play.
Well, its combo decks aren't any less scary.
Fair enough. But let's see you whenever that's all from us. And we'll presumably be back sometime whenever we commentate again. Maybe.
Yeah.